Alright guys, we are going to start with gun spread Y slot is the formation and levels divide is the play that I'm starting with. You guys know I am a big Peyton Manning guy, and he was a guy who attacked with 2x2 and 3x1 sets. He ran a very simple offense, contrary to popular belief. He was just so good at diagnosing what the defense was doing, and he would check in and out of the optimal play to attack. Okay, and that's where he was great at. You don't need to have a million plays to be successful on offense. Now, levels divide is a coverage read play. It is a play that Peyton Manning loved to use, especially in his Indianapolis days. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the play, and I want to show how I use the play. Okay, the play is extremely deadly in this game. Let's go ahead and check it out. Alright guys, so what is the read on this play? Well, it depends on what the defense does. Okay, so on the left, you see we have a levels concept being ran. We attack this side if it's a double high safety defense. Okay, if it's a single high safety defense, then we look to attack with our seam comeback pattern on the right. Okay, now you have to hot route this player to a comeback pattern. I do it no matter what, even if it's double high and I know I'm not attacking this side. I always put him in a comeback pattern so I can keep everything the same. Okay, so being that this is a single high safety defense, we know we are going to attack this side of the field, and I like to read 1 to 2. I peek 1, and that's what we're going to do on this play. We snap the ball and we see that the second defender in opens up and widens, leaving the window wide open to throw our seam pattern. And that's what we do to get a touchdown. Okay, and as we see, they were in cover 3 sky. All right, here, take a look and see what happens, okay? So we throw a big play here, but you may ask, wait a minute now, that was a double high safety defense there. Not quite. That was a cover 1 robber press. Cover 1 robber, as you know, gives the presentation of being a double high safety defense. It's to fool the offense into thinking that they're playing some type of cover 2 type of deal. But then post snap, they're going to rotate into the true coverage, which is cover 1, which is a single high safety defense. Okay, this is one of the benefits of this play. It attacks double high or single high. Okay, but we have to rely on post snap reading if your opponent is going to play a play like cover 1 robber. Okay, and what you do is you post snap read. I look at the safety. Notice how the safety is rotating to the middle of the field. That's our post-snap key. Now we know to read the side that we like to attack against single high, which is the seam comeback pattern route on the right. And that's why we were able to get a big play. So again, we're reading 1 to 2 because it's single high. 1 wins right away, so I rip it into him for a big play. Now, the route that I throw the most while playing against single high is the comeback pattern. I just showed you a couple of plays where we were hitting the seam pattern because, again, we're reading 1 to 2. We're almost peeking the 1. You see how we peek 1 and we don't like it? So now we get our eyes to 2 on the comeback pattern. Okay. Now the reason why the comeback pattern is so good against single high is because of the outer shell of the coverage. Okay. The outer shell of the coverage is the deep middle safety and the 2 outside corners in cover 3. And if any route gets behind those 3 players, then it's an easy throw for a touchdown, okay? Because they're the last path of resistance to the end zone. That is why the comeback pattern against especially cover 3 corners on the outside is so deadly, because you're running a route as if you are running a takeoff pattern. Okay, and the corner has to honor it if you run a really good route, as if you're about to run past them. And then you just simply turn around and come back towards the ball, right? So, you know, Peyton Manning used to throw that comeback pattern against single high a lot. And it also helps to have that seam pattern ran by the number 2. You notice how in these particular videos that I'm showing you, the corner on the outside has to apex the number 1 and the number 2 when he's in cover 3. All right, so here they're actually in cover 1. In cover 1, it's kind of the same, because as the outside corner, you don't have a deep half safety over the top. All right, so if someone runs right by you as a cover 1 corner on the outside, okay, that's an easy throw for a touchdown. So again, you run a route as if you are going to run a deep 9 route or a deep go pattern, okay, you make it look like you're going deep, and then you just turn it back for a comeback pattern. Okay, so as you see on all these videos, I peek the one, and then I throw that deep comeback pattern to the outside against single high. Okay, and what I mean by one is my first read against single high. My first read against single high is the seam pattern. And as you see there, I didn't like the window for whatever reason, but we throw that comeback pattern almost every single time. Okay. So again, single high, reading the seam to the comeback, snap the ball. Don't like the seam right there. That second defender in opened up into the window, and then we throw the comeback pattern on the outside. Okay. Just stealing yards every time. Now against double high, right? Double high, you got cover 2, cover 4, 2-man, and cover 0. Okay, don't mind the fumble. Don't be results oriented. We're really focused in on the completion and how we got to it. Okay. So here I know it's double high, so I'm looking to attack the level side. And what we're reading is the second defender in. This route wants to drive him upfield. If he goes upfield, then the underneath in pattern will run right into the space that he vacates, as we see here. So we're reading that player, snap the ball. He goes upfield with the first in pattern, and our outside in comes in right where he vacates the space. Okay, so that's my read against double high. Now there's a number of different ways you can do this. Okay, and the reason why that is because of your seam runner here. He has the option to run a post pattern. If the middle of the field is open, like it is against double high, he will run a post. If it's closed, like it is in cover 3 or cover 1, then he will run the seam pattern. Well, against double high, he will run a post. Now, I rarely throw that guy. I usually read it from the level side. Okay, I go 1 to 2 to 3 in my read against double high. And here you will see me make it to the check down. And let's see why. Snap the ball. I know it's double high. I'm looking to throw underneath. And I remember when this happened, I ended up throwing the 3, and I didn't know why. I just had a feeling, because you'll get a feel from running this play a lot, that 1 is not going to get open. And this is why. When I came back and watched the replay, notice how our primary route runs the route too deep, right? It's just kind of like a mess up in the game. It's kind of rare, I guess you can say. But, I actually kind of like that this happened, so you can see how important it is to run routes at the proper depth, at the right angle, at the right landmarks, because you can see how where he was supposed to run, but he wasn't there, and it just ruins the entire play, right? So I didn't notice it in game, but I'm so used to reading 1 to 2 to 3 that it just felt natural to me, and then later on when I saw what happened, I'm like, oh wow, he ran the route at the wrong depth. That's why I didn't throw the route. I threw the check down. Okay, so double high here, I'm reading 1 to 2. The 2 turns his hips and goes upfield, and I'm looking for 1, and I throw it underneath. It ended up being 2-man, right? So I guess he was trying to disguise because they weren't playing underneath inside leverage. But if you replay, you'll be able to see how the man-to-man defender got juked out of his cleats because he was playing at a depth that wasn't optimal for a 2-man. Okay, at least in my opinion. So I will show you a rare instance of me throwing the post pattern by the number 2 on the seam read side. Middle of the field open. This is cover 0. I set the protection so we can have enough time. He attacks the deep middle of the field, and I throw that post pattern for a touchdown. I don't like running this play against cover 0. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. That was just a rare occurrence. For whatever reason, I don't like my tight end on a post pattern against safeties in this game. At least, a lot of different matchups. Okay, so there's that. This is actually cover 1 robber, and watch, even against press man, I will still throw this route. It takes a little bit of time, but I mean, look how clean it looks every time you throw it. Okay. So that is levels divide from spread Y slot. And this is the play that I opened up with in this particular playbook. And I started to build off of that, right? So you have your bread and butter. You attack, attack, attack until your opponent tries to take that away. And then you go to your plays to adjust. And then they're forced to adjust as well. I think I went over something like that before. I think it's called constraint theory. There are a lot more technical terms for it, but hopefully, I make a video about that. Okay. So think about this play. I mean, I love it against single high, any single high, cover 3 or cover 1. Okay, so that's 2 out of the 6. I like it against cover 2 zone. It's decent against cover 2 man. Okay, you got to have a bona fide receiver outside running that in pattern. Theoretically, 2 man should be pretty decent against it because you're not supposed to get beat inside. But that underneath in route will take a little bit more time to develop. You may want to check out of this play against like 2 man, against, depending on the talent that you have on offense relative to defense. Okay, so in worst case scenario, this play is something you can run against cover 2 zone and single high. I like to run it against 2 man, 2 zone, and all of single high. If I get cover 0 or even cover 4, okay, that's when I tend to check out into something else. And you see right away. I mean, think about that. If you don't like this play against cover 4 and cover 0, what can you do? Well, you have a play where you can check into cover 0 to attack. Or if you see cover 4, right, you check into a play that's optimal against that. And this is how we build a no-huddle offense, or an offense like the way Peyton Manning did, to where you are checking in and out of plays to optimize your attack against your opponent. So I hope you liked the video. I hope you implement this play into your playbooks. And I hope you keep coming back, man. Peace.